Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Ephraim Kirlin, son of Yehuda Kirlin from Arnold, joined the daf right after Simcha's Torah, Beitza daf Lamed. Hey, here we go. Okay, I guess we don't go. What again? You got this, Gary, or noch nicht? Huh? Okay. This was on MKY. I got it from 10 people from MKY. Mikam Yisrael status. I believe it's Yebichiel Besser status. But I got the original from the guy that took it. I just sent in a sponsorship for the daf. I wanted to share with you this video so they can get an extra shout out. I was in Allentown, Pennsylvania with my family for a night and davened at Congregation Sons of Israel. Being that they're in between Rabbanim right now, they don't have anyone to give the daf share. This doesn't stop them. After 6:30 a.m. Shachris, a few people sit down together to learn the daf with Rita Gay Stefansky. They pause in the middle to discuss the questions they have, as well as enjoy your jokes. I thought this deserves a tremendous shout out. The holy Yidden holding up the world from Allentown, Pennsylvania, Nachi Rubenfeld. Here we go. Okay, fine. Well, so Sag Zerav has to do with the names of the Amoraim that said these members. Now, today we're holding the third Shiloh, Refuah Shlaima. Allentown, Pennsylvania. Akiva Solkowitz, living life. He's living life with his radio, his Gemara, his tefillin, living life. Rabbi Sai, this. I was dealing with this the entire morning. I hope I am all cried out. Here's a picture of two children from 3 days ago. The child on the top, the younger one, they were on a trip, a family trip, Ben Izmanim trip, and the child, he got sick. He got a virus. They took him to the hospital, and he was nifter. Here's a picture his father just sent me this morning. The father's had a 30th birthday just a month ago. And here he is on the left. And the father wrote me this text. If you don't mind turning it down, thank you. I can't believe I missed your call, Rebelli. I'm in bed about to go to sleep, but just hearing your voicemail has already given me so much nechama. I can't thank you enough for your Torah that you teach and clarity that you give over. You just buried yesterday. I started with the Yavamis, as I knew it would be impossible with anyone else. Have continued each and every day with you. You have instilled in me this emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even after this unforeseen tragedy for my family. I just want to keep the feeling of being close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Unfortunately, tragedy sometimes brings us close to Hashem. We have no one else to give us answers, so we turn to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I know it can and probably will take years, if not decades, to get an answer. I daven not for why, but for the strength to move on. Thank you for the call and teaching so much Torah to Klal Yisrael, Tani Palak. So, Rabbi Isai, if anybody wants to be Menachem Aval Tani, had a back and forth with him, I saw his hesped, the final thing in his hesped, he said, everybody should go, grab their child, give him an extra hug. Very emotional stuff. Mark Ashkenazi has his phone number. Mark Ashkenazi is on all the groups. He learned here in Levator in Ramat Beit Shemesh, his Rebbe's flying into Menachem. It's unbelievable stuff.
Whereabouts does he live?
He lives in New Jersey. So yeah, all I could say is I can't say anything, but a nechama to him and to his wife. I know that all the tefillos, I know they davened a lot the last hours. All those tefillos don't go in vain. It might not go to what you wanted it to go, but it goes somewhere special, and it'll do what it needs to do. On a different note, it says over here, Akiva wrote to me, he sent me this morning. A call went out by Yaakov Badner seeking a minyan for a mace mitzvah. The request was posted on local chats, the MDY chats. One of the responses that really stood out was that of one of the Chaver who was golfing around the corner, and if needed, he would come in the middle of his golf game and bring two people he was golfing with. See attached screenshots of the exchange. The chesed of MDY at its best. Akiva. Okay, we're learning Torah, and we got to get in a better mood. So here's the Chaim Seltzer, take us out of our mood. You got some volume for this?
Good morning, Rabbi Isai.
Nobody wants to laugh. Rabbi say Achdus. I know you speak a lot about Achdus. On a recent hike with my kids, I saw real Achdus. That's really Bornstein's cap. But he put it on the girl. Raveli, here's a picture of my son Shaya. Even when spending the day at the beach, he takes time out to do the daf. You're a real inspiration. He hasn't missed the daf since Tainus, his proud father from London, England. Yeah, okay. The Paras HaChodesh for the Koilel is the zchus. All the new people that joined Masechtas Kesubos. The Paras HaChodesh number 2 of the Koilel, Avram Rachel Kamiansky, in memory of Rachel's mother, Reza Gittel, Bas Esther. Rita should be a Melitza Yosher on behalf of us and our children. It's unbelievable. Like, nobody knows. One day it's like this. The kid looked mamish healthy, looks 100% the regularly said. He's a healthy kid. He got this pneumonia, whatever, boom. It's unbelievable. Parnas HaKoilel for the week. L'Refuah Esther Bas Pertona Beton. Then Parnas HaMesechta. Lili Nishmas is Baruch ben Moshe Aaron. Lili Nishmas Moshe Elazar ben Nata Shalom. And for that hatzlacha b'chol hayanim for my children. Parnas HaMesechta number 2. Jeff Razin, zchus of my son, Yosef Simcha Chaim ben Zor Chana Refuah Shlaima. Parnas HaChodesh, Dr. Avrum Epstein, in memory of my precious Southern Belle, wife, mother, and grandmother, Rita Gay Epstein. Parnas HaChodesh number 2. Benmeleh, Motty Perl Aaron Hirsch. He's probably going to walk in 5 minutes from now. Oh, here he is. Oh, Aaron Hirsch, his last day here. How you doing? Wow. To be zoche, to make it to Uman Rosh Chana this year. Oh, he's back. Got another Breslover friend. Givaldik. You going to Uman also? You're not doing the week and a half thing in Uman. You're a faker. Parnas HaChodesh number 3. Leilin Shma Zechraya ben Moshe. Parnas Hayoim. Rob Arnold. Refuah Shlaima. Lirnana bat Ora Sara, who had an operation yesterday. Parnas Hayoim. Refuah Shlaima for Shmuel Halevi ben Sheina Chaya. And then it says again, L'Refuah Esther Bas Petron Beton. And then it says, Kapara Alecha. That has to be Harry Shalom. Oh, happy birthday to Harry Shalom. Kapara Alecha, my friend. How old is he? All right. Here we go. We're holding by the brand new Perek. Perek Afalpi. By the Mishnah. We know that the typical, what's instituted by Chachamim is 200 for a woman who's never married before and 100 for an almana, a grusha. And Ratzallah Yosef, if he wants to add, afilu me'ah mana Yosef, even if it adds up to 10,000, it's also okay. The Gemara tells us what the chiddush in that. Why shouldn't I be able to add? Nisar meloin is garsha. If the woman lost her chasen, her husband, Beimena Erusin, Beimena Nesuin, Goyves Hakol. What's Hakol? Not the 200, but the Tesefes. Even the extra, she gets to keep. Reb Elazar ben Azariah Omer, Beimena Nesuin Goyves Hakol. Yes, if she's married for a moment, she gets everything in the ksuba. Min Erusin, however, if she lost her chasen, the Erusin, Psula Goyve Masayim, she gets the basic ksuba of 200. Mana. But not the extra. Why? Shalei Kazav lo ella almanas lekanza. We have to be yored l'soif daitoi. We have to understand his intent. Yes, it doesn't say mefurish, but let's understand his intent. As the Gemara explains, we'll have it today. Umdina. Sometimes, even though it doesn't say specifically, it's not spelled out, but everybody understands. What do we understand? We understand that he's doing it l'chibas bia for his intimacy that he's going to have with her. But since he never reached that point, so he didn't want to give her all the extra nechasim, so he gets to keep it. His heirs get to keep it. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, and we had this. We actually had everything basically. But Rabbi Yehuda Omer imratza kaisel b'sul shtar shomasayim. I have a trick, says Rabbi Yehuda. To Shalom Aleichem. What's with the yeshiva? Huh? On the way. To not give a ksuba, everybody agrees that's not going to work. That's stop. Living in sin, you can't. It's boil. It's like znus. But there's a trick. You could give a ksuba, and then you take a receipt as if you gave part of the ksuba back, and that works. Even though you didn't give anything back, but on paper it looks good and it works. Imratza kaisev lepsula shtar shomasayim. And she writes back. She can't just say it with her mouth. She has to write it in writing. Here's a receipt. I got half the ksuba. In other words, she has to leave something over, something substantial that's still going to be effective. The point is that he shouldn't just divorce her and it shouldn't cost him anything. It has to cost him something, so she leaves over something. Well, and in the case where the whole ksuba started out as 100, and she'll write a receipt. Anyway, there's a way out of the ksuba if you really want it. No, you can't get out of it. If you do anything less than 200 and 100, even though you started out with 200 and then she wrote you a receipt for 100, you're living with the Avera, it's not proper, you can't do it, there's no tricks. Says the Gemara, Pshito. If somebody wants to add $1,000 to the ksuba, why shouldn't he be able to add it? Even a meyamana, so meyamana, who cares? What's the issur to add to ksuba? You want to give something extra to your wife? Says the Gemara, the same maybe there's a specific amount and everybody goes with that amount. We have to be concerned about other people. We have to be considerate. So you had a chasana, and under the chuppah they say, oh, the chassan is giving $10 million to the kala. So everybody's going to say, oh, it's not fair. Look how much money this guy has. Da-da-da. Okay. Kamash Malon, you could. It's not mevayish anybody. If you want to be moisiv, you could. Okay. In Ratzal Yosef, when I was in the safari, I got a lot of positive emails. I think I mentioned this. Thank you for keeping on and keeping up with the daf. Da-da. One guy wrote me an email. I didn't read it, but he writes, what kind of chutzpah is this? You go on a safari, and now I have to explain to my kids, how come I don't take them on a safari? Do me a favor, stop giving shiurim over there. You're a chilul Hashem, what you're doing. How long this? So now, I think we should go again, yeah. So here's a raya. Shaloi lebayis is misha ein loy. Kamash malon, it's not a problem. You just keep on going. Im Ratzal Yosef. Ratzal, no matter what you do, you're going to get it from somebody. Baruch Hashem, it was 1% of the emails, literally. Im Ratzal Yosef. Ratzal lichtov la loikatani. So the Gemara makes a diuk here. I mean, the best I was able to come up with is, I used to give a shir, the same Daf Yomi shir at night. The guys in America loved it, and then at the end it fizzled away after like a year. So when I give another shir, that's a whole different shir. It's not the morning and we're doing the evening shir. It's a new shir. You can take the morning shir and expand, break these walls open and go that way. Instead of 100 people in the room, you'll have 200. That's the same shir, but you're adding. Says the Gemara, from the fact that the Mishnah says, it doesn't use the lashon Ratzal lichtov la loiktani. He's not writing a new one. He's not writing a new ksuba. He's not doing another shir. It's the same one. Ela Ratzal Yosef. He added to the existing ksuba. So what do you see if you add to the existing ksuba? What's the difference? 14 differences, says the Gemara. There's no shaila. It's in addition to the ksuba, it's part of the ksuba, it's one and the same as the 200 zuz of the ksuba. Anything that's in the ksuba as a condition to the ksuba has the halacha of the actual ksuba. Nafkemina, and what's the difference? 14 nafkeminas. So this is what we call shas katan. Here, I did this today. We should have done this throughout, but here, you got a shas katan alert. Take a look. Here, this is a shas. Oh, and this is a shas katan. That's right. Shas katan alert. Shas katan alert. Okay. What I mean by that is, we're going through many sugyas, and quickly. But just different sugyas, different ideas, different concepts in Shas. The first two are easy. We don't need to go through them. L'moicheres u'lemoichelas. If the woman sells her ksuba, what is she selling? Everything in it. So if he added another 2 nursing homes in there, it's the 200 zuz plus the 2 nursing homes, that's posh. If she's moichel, she's moichel the entire thing. L'meredes. Okay, here's Shas Katan. Meredes means a woman who distanced herself from her husband physically. She's a meredes. No relations. So the halacha is, we penalize her a dinner a day, 7 dinarim a week, a dinner a day, until she has no more ksuba left. That includes also all the extras of the ksuba. If they're nursing homes, we keep on going, keep on chopping away, dinner a day, every day you take off a dinner. Ula pegemes. Pegemes means that if she admits, she says, you paid me some of the ksuba. And he says, no, I paid you everything. So even though she says, you paid me part of the tosefes, the extra, her hoida was in the extra, not in the main part, in the tanai part, in the extra, she still has to make a shvuah. You think that she only has to make a shvuah if she admits to the main part of the ksuba. No, even in this pagemes, how do you say pagem in English? She damaged, she impairs the ksuba, even in the extra part of the ksuba. That requires her to make a shvuah. L'toivas, this we had yesterday, the other day. If a woman comes forward to Bezdin and says, I demand my ksuba, that's it. She doesn't get any more mezainis. Even if she demands the extra of the ksuba. Uloi veres al das. If she goes off the derech, she doesn't get the ksuba. And she doesn't get the extra part of the ksuba. L'shevach. So l'shevach means that after, let's say a guy owns an apartment in Bet Shemesh. He owned an apartment in the year 2020 in Bet Shemesh. Then it was worth $1 million shekel. And then he was nifter. And then comes 2021, and it's worth 3 million shekel. Ma'aseh shebachol yom over here. It went up double, like, I don't know, at least 50%. So she cannot, l'shevach is the extra money, so she cannot go after that extra profit that was made on the property. You evaluate the property at the time of the death, whatever it's worth, and that's all she gets. Even though it says in Ksuva, he owes her $1 million, well, there's only $500,000 in the inheritance, so later on, it was worth more. She can't go after that extra. And also for the tosefes, for the extra in the Ksuba as well. L'shvuah. If she demands the extra, she has to make a shvuah. Before we were talking about if she admitted part of the ksuba, even if she admitted as that she received part of the tosefes, she still has to make a shvuah. Over here we're saying she demanded in a situation where it requires a shvuah, she needs a shvuah over here. For Yosef, we need a shvuah, so even if she demands the tosefes, it's mechayev her shvuah. V'l'shvius. Shmita. Shmita as hatzlacha here, as you see in the pasuk. V'zeh dvar shmita shamoit kol b'mashe yadoi asher yashe b'reyeyu. Shmita is mishamet, meaning if there is a loan, we're going through all these different sugyas. If you have a loan, you lend somebody money, Shmita comes along, the end of Shmita, so right now, we're here in Eretz Yisrael. If you lend money to somebody, it applies to us also, Shmita erases the loan. So what do you do against that? You write something called a prusbul. There are some people that give money to their friends, like 10 shekel, and then Shemitah comes and it erases the 10 shekel, and they're mekayim like this pasuk, B'zeh dvar Shemitah shamoid. Refuah Epstein has a story where there's a guy who was machmir, and he gave 50,000 shekel to his friend, and Shemitah came and it got erased. And then his wife found out about it. And he comes to Refuah Epstein. It's one of these stories that make you think, I don't know, did it actually, whatever, okay, fine. And the wife comes to Refuah Epstein, and Refuah Epstein said, and again, maybe it's a mekachtos. Had he known the rage his wife would have, maybe he wouldn't have given it, and he wanted, which is also hard to understand, but okay, ayin sham. But the bottom line is, let's get back to our sugya. Shmita is mishamet. So if there's a chayiv out there, there's a loan, it goes away. Now, it's not mishamet a ksuba. If a husband owes his wife a ksuba, you can't, but Shmita came and I don't owe you anything. And it also doesn't apply to the Tosefes of the Ksuba. Shemitah is not Meshamet the Tosefes. But if you look in Rashi here, he brings an interesting word. Just to explain it. Rashi did Ramaskal Villa Shvius. It's like 10 lines down. Shein Shvius Meshamet is Ksuba Kishar Shtaris. Shemitah is not Meshamet a Ksuba. Elam came Pagma Vizokfa. What in the world is Rashi saying here? There's a concept called Skifa, and that is that if the wife comes forward to Bezin, let's say, and she says, the husband paid me 100 out of 200, he owes me 100. When she says those words, he owes me 100, she just flipped the ksuba into a loan. She just gave an amount. Once she gave an amount, she zoikif it into a milva, into a loan, and a loan, Shemitah is Meshamet. So she has to be careful not to say anything in the wrong way. Because once she flips the ksuba into a loan, it's going to fly out with the Shemitah. Okay, as long as she didn't do that, so Shemitah is not Meshamet the Tosefes. If somebody on his deathbed writes all his belongings to his sons, and he sticks in, I'll give this little terrible field that I own in Iowa, I'm going to give it to my wife. And she was quiet. She was moichel to everything. She's moichel to ksuba. And she's moichel the Tosefes ksuba as well. Ligvois men hakarka, a ksuba, you get paid from real estate. So too the Tosefes. Umin haziburis. Unlike a regular loan, you get paid from, I'm telling you, look at all these halachas, we're going through more and more. A regular loan you get paid from Beinonus. Ksuba min haziburis, from the worst fields you have, from the Iowa, from all the terrible stuff, not from Manhattan. So, or Bet Shemesh. Bet Shemesh, I heard, is mamish the most expensive in Eretz Yisrael right now. It went highest, okay, I got it, yeah. It's right up there with the prices of Yerushalayim. Okay. Umin haziburis. Okay. Yeah, I know, I got it. I just have to read my little notes here. So this is a very interesting halacha, that a woman who's living in her husband's house and she gets mezainis every day, she doesn't have to claim her ksuba. She has 50, 70, 100 years to claim her ksuba. But once she moves into her father's house and she doesn't claim her ksuba for 25 years, a new amount. 25 years. If 25 years passed, 25 years and a day passed, she didn't collect her ksuba, she loses her ksuba. There's a guy that found a receipt from the shoe repair shop, and it was from 25 years ago. So he wants to see, like, does the guy have the shoes? So he knocks, he goes in, he says, I want my shoes back. This guy looks at it, he goes, it's not ready yet, come back tomorrow. But Maisa Shahaya, I was going through some albums in my mother-in-law's house. It's also my father-in-law's house, but I'm going to blame my mother. I found a $50,000 check, Maisa Shahaya, in one of the albums from 20 years ago. Sitting there, I bring it to her, he goes, oh, that's where it was. Only in my Shver's house. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not going to the safari, and people don't have those kinds of checks laying around in their albums. I'm sorry. Okay, you don't have to write an email. Plenty Almighty. Yeah. It wasn't mine. It was the Shver. Now I have to explain to my kids how come they don't have a Shver that doesn't have checks like that. Okay, whatever. Zog Gemara. And last one. Ulechsuvas banin dichrin. So we know what Kesubos banin dichrin is, that if she has sons, they get to inherit her ksuba, and that husband has another wife, and he had sons with that other wife. Each one, the sons, they yarshin their own mother, including the Tosefes ksuba. Okay, so we have the 14 things we just went through Shas Katan. There's more. Says the Gemara, now we're going to have... Oh, what happened? Oh, sorry. Jump. Itmar. Ksuas banin dichrin. Now we're going to have 4 machlokes in between Pumpadisa and Motty Mechasya. The what? Motty Mechasya. Ksuas banim dichrin. This ksuba that we just discussed, that goes, her own sons inherit her, the ksuba. Amri, Pumbedisa Amri loy torfa mimishabde. A ksuba you take from Mishua Badim. This you don't take from Mishua Badim. Loy torfa mimishabde. Why? Yirsun Tnan. Now, if you look over here, we had this on Daf Yomi Amud Beis. I'm just going to show you what the Mishnah says. It says in the Mishnah, if he didn't write, this is taken out of the Mishnah. If a person didn't write the idea of Bonim Dichrin, inun yarsum kesek subaseh. You should inherit. Yarsun is a lashon of Yerusha. In Aramaic, Yerusha, Yarsun. Now, if it's a Yerusha, how do we view the extras that are in the Ksuba that go only to her sons? Are they a Yerusha, or are they a loan that the husband had from the wife? He took her nursing homes as a loan, and he's paying it back, he's repaying it. If it's a loan, then he has no right to sell it off. If he sells it off, they could go and reclaim it. But if it's a Yerusha, then a father could sell whatever he wants up until the moment he dies. So he sold it off. So they can't go back, they can't go to whoever bought it and take it from them. Why? Because it says, Yarsan. But they say no. They could go after the Meshubadim. Why? Because Yizbun Tnan. It says, instead of the word Yarson, it says Yizbun. And Yizbun means they didn't take, they're going to take the money of the Ksuba. They're going to take. Taking means that it's a loan. The halacha is like Pumpedisa. You don't go after Meshubadim. Yartun Tnan, 1-0, Pumpedisa. Next. The husband, it was very common that in order to calm the wife down, he says, look, here, take this. You see the piano, here's the whole package. This is yours for the ksuva. One day, you're going to need it. Here, you'll take from here. If they're there, everybody knows this is the package and it's in front of us. She goes and she takes the piano, she takes everything without swearing. Why? Because we're not concerned that maybe he gave her a second package. Nobody gives 2 packages. One, here it is, that's it. If the piano is gone, it was stolen, something happened. Again, we're not concerned that maybe he gave a second package. So you could go ahead and claim without a shvuah. We're concerned that maybe she got paid somewhere else. The halacha is like pumbedisa, 2-0. If he designated her a piece of land, and that's the lashon that we had yesterday, you could take payment for the ksuba from this land, not today. Here's the piece of property you're going to go for. So, barba mitzrana, if it has, here's a picture of a field, it has 4 border lines. Very, very defined. If you look in the back of the picture, all the fields are very, very, what's the word? You could see exactly, clearly defined. Demarcate, what? Demarcate, okay, whatever. Okay. Now, I'm not concerned that maybe he gave her a package of metalton on the side. No, this is the field, Shalom Yisrael. No shvuah. B'chad mitzrah, if it only has one wall, one kind of siman, no need for shvuah. B'nei mas mechaz yarmi b'shvuah. V'hilchasa b'loy shvuah. B'nei mas mechaz are concerned, maybe he gave her some metaltalin on the side, so you need a shvuah. The halacha is like pumbedisa, no shvuah, 3-0. Amar leidim, kisvu v'chismu v'havulei. Let's say, for instance, Rashi says, I want to give somebody a gift, real estate. I want to gift him a building in Manhattan. So I take Eidim, I say, write down a star, sign over here, and give it to him. Says the Gemara, Kanu minei, if they did something like this, it's called Kinyan Sudar. You take, at every chasana, they do it, right? Or depends, especially in America. I don't know if I just saw it yesterday, when was it, 2 days ago, at the chasana, they did it. You take a yarmulke, you take a sudar, you have to lift it up, and you kind of, that's how you do it. So over here they have an official one that says Kinyan Sudar on it, and okay, it says a Rabbanut HaRashit, okay. So if they did what? Selling the chametz. That's what they're doing, okay? Selling the chametz. So If there was an actual kinyan, loy tzarich im luchi bei. Why? Because most kinyanim, when you do a kinyan like that, says Rashi, you're going to write it down. So they were kind of, what's the whole debate here? What? Selling chametz, not selling chametz? Oh, of course he's Jewish. Oh! The Rabbi Rashi is selling chametz to the goy. They could have bought a Litvish guy in there instead. I don't know, a guy that doesn't have a beard. Whatever, same thing. Told you, when I learned in the mirror, I was in Ingerish Heiser. That's where my deer was. So I came outside. I saw this Yishami guy was schmoozing. All of a sudden, his mother screams out in Yiddish. She thought I don't understand Yiddish. Even if you don't understand Yiddish, you can understand what you're saying. That is with the shaygits. She's screaming, "Don't talk to the shaygits. Keep on moving." Okay. They for sure could have sold chametz to me. No shayla. Everything. Says the Gemara. Why? Because there's a kinyan, and you don't have to ask permission. The Rishonim talk about why do you have to ask permission? He said, go write it, go sign it, but there's a breakup, there's different parts to it. So maybe he didn't really want you to give it yet, ask permission. But like if there's no kinyan sudar, Pumidis Amri, Pumi said, no need. He wants you to go ahead. Even though most kinyanim, if there's a kinyan, it's b'chsiva. There's no ksiva here. So you have to go ask permission. 3-1. They win one. Next sugya. Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah. So Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah says that even though a person wrote a whole bunch of stuff in his ksuba to give his kala, his future wife, but if he dies, he never anticipated he's going to die like that. He's a young, healthy guy. Why would he die? If he dies, he doesn't have to give it all because we understand what his thought. His thought process was chibas bia. Says Gemara, Itmar Rav Rebbe Nosson Chadomar hatzlacha ki Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah, v'chadomar ein halacha ki Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah. We have a machlokes Rav and Rebbe Nosson, and we don't know who says what. And one says the halacha is that we go based on the umdana, on the intent. We use the intent over here. What was in his mind when he wrote this? Says the Gemara Testayim, the Rebbe Nosson Udo Amar halacha ki Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah. I can prove to you that it's Rebbe Nosson. The Shamin and Leila Rebbe Nosson the Azal basu umdana. We see in a different case, the Rebbe Nosson holds this idea of intent. Domer Rebbe Nosson, halacha ki Rebbe Shimon shezuri b'misukon. End the story. Okay. So, this is also the inyan of Umdin and the Muchafai. The what? No, this is it, right here. You don't have to go Uber Trumas. The raya is right over here. That, the halacha is that if somebody says, kisvu, right, and he doesn't say the words tenu, give, then you don't give. There's one exception, or maybe two. If a person is about to travel in those days, imagine, I don't know what the percentage is. You can imagine it's 50%. They go into the ocean, they don't come back. I don't know what it is. I mean, you're talking about a little raft, a little boat made out of wood in 30-foot waves. You can imagine. So he's going with this fear. He doesn't know if he's going to come back alive. So he's not thinking about all the details. He said, write a get to my wife. He doesn't want her to fall liibum. Write a get to... He forgot to say the word nu. Give him a break. But that's umdana. We have to understand his intent. We know he's not messing around. A guy on the verge of his trip. Sometimes you have a rasha. He tells his wife, he knows how much his wife wants to get divorced. So he says, write her a get. Or fakir. Okay, I'm hacking. Okay, he wants to scare his wife. He says, write her a get. But he didn't mean to give her. So you don't give a get until he says no. But when this guy is about to fly away somewhere and he doesn't know if he's going to live or not, missed up. So Reb Shimon Shizuri says, but also the same thing applies. The guy's on his deathbed. He says, give a get to my wife because I don't want her to fall liibum. He doesn't say that, but that's what he means. So even though he didn't say no, give it. You just finish a sentence. You know what he wants. So that's intent. Who says that? Reb Nosson says the halacha is like this. We go with his intent. He never said no, but that's his intent. In our sugya also, his intent was only to get married to her. If he gets married to her, she get 3 nursing homes. They never get married. A shtickle engagement. For that, I'm going to give away 3 nursing homes? No way. Intent. Don't get shocked. Nun Amud Beis. Not only is it very short, Rabbi Isai, it's repetitive. So we have to slow down now. Sponsors, in honor of Yankee Baum and Moshe Horn, Horn. Baruch hatzlacha b'chol inyan. Okay, the zchus being able to support limud Torah and to finish learning Shas with their belly. Next. Huh? Avi K is watching. Well, what time is it now? Okay. Hi, Avi. Ubetrumas meiser shedmai. This is a very interesting thing. Here. So we have to go back. We're finally going to be talking about trumas meiser. We never talk about trumas meiser. So if a person has 100 grapes, he gives 2 grapes, 2% he gives to the Chaim straight off the bat. Now he's left with 98. He gives 10% of the 98 to the Levi. It's called the Meiser Rishon. He gives 9.8 grapes to the Levi. Now the Levi takes his 9.8 grapes and gives 10% of what he just received to the Chaim. Let's say he gives 1 grape. So now the Chaim has 3 and this Levi has like 8. Levi gets much more than the Chaim. Okay. So this guy, as he's taking out this Trumas Meiser, everything falls into the box again. And now he doesn't know which one is what. Now, the halacha is that you could be mevatel the stuff with 100. But how many does he have? He only has 98. He just took off. He gave to the kohen, and now he has 98. So it's not mevatel. So now you have a whole mixture that's dmai. Domai, what's going on here? Now, he bought this from... Do I have the picture? I should have the picture. He bought this from the Amaritz. Now, if you're new to this year, I'm not going to go tell you the whole story, but you should just know that it's spelled like that on purpose, and people in New York actually have license plates, and not only people in New York, but also Arabs in the Shtachim have these license plates. But okay, fine. He's an Amaritz. He's an Amaritz, and most Amaritzim, they give Trumas HaMaisros. But because of the few that don't, Chacham said, if you buy fruit and vegetables, fruit from the Amaretz, you should take off. Now the problem is, if he can't do anything now, the whole mixture has to be sold to a Chaim. Guess what the market is? Fruits to the Chaim? Very, very little. He's going to incur a tremendous loss. It could be 100 grapes. It could be 100 million grapes. It's a big loss. So what do? So you go to the Amaretz and you ask him, hey, did you take Trumas HaMaisros? And you trust him. It's a one-time deal. This has nothing to do with our sugya. This is the continuation of the bride. So we already brought the raya that Rav Nassan is the one that uses intent. Okay. Ask the Gemara. By the way, you could also do this halacha on Shabbos. If you get stuck without Trumas HaMaisros on Shabbos, you go to the Amaretz, ask him, did you take Trumas HaMaisros? However, Rashi points out, that's only good for Shabbos. Once Motzei Shabbos hits, you must take your Trumas HaMaisros. But in this case, it's forever. You get a leniency forever. Okay. Ask the Gemara of Rav Le'ozah Basar that you just told me you have a machlokes Rav and Rav Nassan. We proved to you that Rav Nassan is the one who goes by intent, umdana. But Rav also goes by umdana. Yeah, yesterday we had this also. Divrei shchimera ki ksuvim ukimsurim dami. When a shchimera writes something, says something just with his mouth, it's as if it's written in a shtar. Now, what happened over here? Listen to this. We have a shchimera, a guy on his deathbed. Shekasubah kinyan. He made a kinyan. He wrote it, he said it, doesn't matter. But the bottom line is he made a kinyan. He's contradicting himself. On the one hand, he doesn't need a kinyan. His words are enough. And then he went ahead and he made a kinyan. What happened? You can look at it 2 ways. Either he's trying to strengthen what he did. I have the oral and I have the kinyan. I have the maisa. Or I'm contradicting myself. I'm a whole big contradictory thing and everything is off. Okay. So over here we have machlokes bebei Rav mishmei the Rav Amri. Here's Rav. Arkevei atrei rikshe. It's on 2 horses, otherwise known as 2 horsepower. Okay. You have 2 horses here. You could go with either one, any way you want. The better of the 2. I don't know. I have a suffix. I don't know what. It's a suffix. What does it mean 2 horses? You get the best of both worlds, the guy that's receiving this gift. If he was healed with a miraculous nace, he has stage 5 cancer, and the doctor said that's it, he has 1 day to live, and all of a sudden he comes back. She said, I only gave you everything because I thought I was not going to make it, but I made it. Take it back. But a bari, you give a guy a present, you can't be an Indian giver. You can't say, oh, give it back. Never. This case, because he made a kinyan, he acted as a healthy man. Healthy man, it's a good gift. You can never take it back even if he gets healthy. And what does it mean? It's like a shemara. Shemamar halvasi leploini. Halvasi leploini. Now, to give, let's say somebody owes the guy that's dying $1 million. You can't give that over with a kinyan sudar. So what he does is, he says, I want it. He's using words. So now, when he uses words, so he's acting as a bari, because he's using a kinyan. Now, he's saying within the same sentence, he's saying also, by the way, I want to be a shchimera. I'm not a bari, I'm a shchimera. I want to use my words. So Rav says, we let him use his words. You see over here that Rav goes according to Umdana. Even though he wasn't specific, he didn't say exactly. You could take money out based on what we assume he means. So once again, we're going with assumptions, we're going with intent. So Rav also holds intent. Why are you telling me that it's only Reb Nosson that holds intent? And our mission is Reb Nosson. Reb Elazar ben Azariah is Reb Nosson. Says the Gemara Daf Nun Vav Amud Aleph. Ela tarbayu azli basum dana. You're right. Everybody goes with intent. Intent is a rule in all Shas and everybody agrees to it. Mando malacha shapir. So the Mando Omar that says that halachas like Reb Elazar ben Azariah, I understand why. Because Reb Elazar ben Azariah said, I'm only giving the extra in the Kesuba because of Chibas Bia. Mando Omar in halacha, but the one who argues, hachanami daito. We are going with intent. You know what the intent is? He's a chassan. He's very close to the Kala. Had a lot of shmuz with her. He's looking forward to build the whole thing. So he gave her a couple of nursing homes. So what if there's no bia there? It's not about physical, it's about the emotion. And daito. At the end of the day, they're close. Have a wonderful day.